Alright, so this is the introduction to Death Truck. Currently I'm sitting at 20 inches of clearance under the front bumper. Now that will increase when I get new tires. I may have done a couple of brake stands and I don't have much for tires left. I've actually had this truck since I was... wow, like way before my license. I think I started working on it when I was like 13. But then, you know, fuel economy, stuff like that, it got parked for a long period of time. Then I drove it 2 years ago. Yeah, I drove it for like 3 years, and then I stopped like 2 years ago because it's in the need of desperate repair, and I was pretty broke back then. So I couldn't do the repairs, so I had no choice but to park it. Well, let's give you an introduction. We are looking at a 1977 Chevy, 3/4 ton. We got 4-wheel drive. It's a 4-speed manual. It's actually a 3-speed, and they call it a granny gear, but there's 4 forward gears. Under the hood, we're looking at the king of junkyard. So what this is I built this Chevy 350 strictly with junkyard parts. It's as good as it can get without dumping any money into it. The only thing I purchased was the intake and carburetor. So what are we looking at? We're looking at a small block Chevy, 350 cubic inch. These are GM Vortec heads. A lot of people underestimate these, but damn, these heads can flow. They kick the shit out of like Camel Hump 202 heads. Like, there's got to be videos out there flow testing them, but yes, these outperform the shit out of Camel Hump heads. Way better head. They put these on the 95 to 99 Chevys, but they will fit on your older small block Chevys. We got tubular headers. I got wires connecting my header bolts together because they heat up and cool down all the time, so they back themselves out. Well, if you drill a hole through them and put a wire connecting the two together, they won't back out anymore. We got a Performer RPM Eldebrock intake manifold, spacer plate. Then we got a Holley 750 double pumper. This is actually overcarbed. For the first 3 gears, I can give it both barrels, well, both sides of the carb, without a problem. But when I get into 4th gear, because I just don't have enough horsepower, because the carburetor, it's got to miss the air, so it requires so much. It's kind of like putting your finger over a hose. It's got to be under constant vacuum, otherwise the fuel just drops in and then it kills your power. So in 4th gear, I can only take it up to like half or 3/4 throttle until I'm like at like 5,500 RPMs. Otherwise, the power just kind of falls off. Because a double pumper, it doesn't rely on vacuum to open the secondary carbs. If I floor this, I push it all the way down, both barrels open up instantaneously. So that's great with really low geared vehicles or really high horsepower vehicles. But on something like this, where this truck weighs a lot, it doesn't really work out in 4th gear because the engine can't accelerate enough to put the carb under enough vacuum to atomize the fuel. So I have to decide if I'm going to ditch the carburetor. Yeah, I know how to run it. I know that in 4th gear I got to slowly ease into the throttle. I can't just drop the hammer. So I might keep it on there. I don't know. I originally bought that big of a carburetor because I was going to put a blower on here. But the tranny's so old I can't smash gears. I have to shift really slow. Otherwise it just grinds. So there's no point in having any more power because I don't go into 4th gear until like 25 miles an hour anyway. So the power I got right here with the gear ratio I got, I can pull down a house. So I don't know if I'm still going to waste my money on a blower because we're talking about like a $1,500, $2,000 upgrade. So we'll have to wait on that to decide. Let's check out some more parts of the truck. Alright, for the shocks, I don't know how well you can see it, but I got some high performance long travel shocks, so if I really start running over some big obstructions, my wheels are able to flex a long way. Speaking of wheels, sorry, on this particular truck, because it's a 3/4 ton and the caliper's so big, you have to run 16 5s, which is an obsolete tire size. They actually used to run that tire size on the Hummers, I don't know if they still do. Like, the actual Hummer's not that ridiculous rich person grocery getter Hummer, but like the real military Hummer back with the 6.2 diesels in them, before turbochargers and all that good stuff. So anyway, you got to run 16.5s, and I have some really nice mag wells, 16.5 by 12.5, and I had 33-inch tires on here, some super swappers with really deep lugs. Unfortunately, as you notice my garage door clearance, if I were to put those mags and 33s back on there, I can't park this truck in the garage anymore. Now I'd have to park it outside. So either I would have to build a new garage, or this would be strictly outside, and this older GM metal, it needs to be taken care of, otherwise it rots out. I'll show you some rot spots from it just sitting. Like when I parked it, I think I was 19, and I couldn't afford to drive it anymore because this gets something like 6 miles to the gallon. But I had just parked it in the garage, and I didn't run it through the car wash before I parked it, and a whole bunch of rot happened. Like, I'm probably going to have to put like $8,000 in the body to bring it back to life. Plus, this fender right here, I broke the welds, so this fender's got to come off and be replaced. Because this has a decent amount of power and a low gearing, I used to think it was cool to just step on the throttle and I could bounce it off the suspension and hop the front tires. Well, unfortunately, that's hell on the body panels. And it snapped the weld on this one. I'm almost positive it's this side the weld is snapped on. And then I broke a cab mount, so my cab's kind of torqued. So I got to take it into a body shop and just throw a pile of cash at them and be like, put it back together, please. But we're going to do the drivetrain stuff first before it goes into the body shop, because I don't want to have a cherry body on here and then all of a sudden, you know, I don't know, go crazy with a cherry picker trying to put in an engine and I scuff the body up. So we're going to do drivetrain first, it'll hit body shop later. Alright, so this is what's going on inside. As you know, this is a little bit rust right here. This has got to be killed, but that'll all be taken care of when it goes to the body shop. 4-speed manual tranny. This is the old style 77 dash. This is coming out. I actually bought an autometer gauge set. I'm going to build my own dash. I'm basically going to take some aluminum diamond plate. But I'm going to replace this top cover, but bend it around there. And then I'm going to build my own dash. Like, here's my tack, my speedo. I'm basically going to do it like how I did the Jimmy dash. I'll roll in some photos of that. Turn signals. High beam indicator. Then for the rear end, I got a spool. This will lock the two axles together, so it's full-time posi. Which is important because if you're over a bumpy, greasy surface, you got to have posi. Otherwise, if one wheel spins, it'll direct all the power to that single wheel, and then you're stuck. You got to have it so both wheels turn at all time. Now I have hub lockouts. Which is what this means is I can release the axle from the rim. So by turning this, alright, so now this hub is locked to the axle. Right here it's released. Now I believe this means I can put a posi differential in the front as well. Please correct me in the comments, because this is something I need to know about, because I'd like to lock up the front axle as well. Because I can unlock it from the rims, that's not a big deal. Now with the back, obviously, you know, my turning radius is going to take a huge shit. That, or I just got to drift it every time I want to turn. Now in the back here, I'm probably going to put a headache rack to protect the rear glass. And now the side window glass, I don't want to put like a chain link fence or something like that, because style is absolutely important. I don't want to build, you know, a Mad Max pile of crap that you can't drive and it's not practical. It's got to blend in. So what I was thinking about with the side windows, to keep some loser from reaching his hand in and trying to like grab the keys out of the ignition or shut the truck down or try to strangle one of my passengers, is take like a NASCAR net or a racing net, something I can put on the ceiling But if it really happens to where I need to evacuate a riot zone, I can put the nets down and pin them into the door. This way nobody can reach their hand in there without having to cut the net. And that should buy me enough time to do something. But in the back, because obviously this is a pickup and they can hop in the back, I was thinking about putting a headache rack right here or something like that. A lot of farmers do that if they're going to haul wood, because you don't want to throw a chunk of wood through your back window. So they put that in there to protect their back window, and that would definitely stop that. Now I still got the problem of the moonroof. I'm hoping it's just not noticeable and that doesn't get attacked. Now about the box itself, if I put a headache rack, obviously I can't run a tonneau cover. So that makes the box sensitive to Molotovs, which kind of sucks, because I'm going to be dropping the fuel tank, and I'm going to put like a 25 or a 30 gallon tank back here, a fuel cell, so if I roll the truck over it doesn't spill its fuel. Plus the fuel tank on here is just kind of rough, and there's rubber lines run here and there, and that needs to come out because I'm going to run steel line from the fuel cell all the way to the engine, so I can drive through flaming obstacles without having to worry about burning like a rubber line and setting the whole thing on fire. But then if I have the fuel cell back here, you know, I get hit with a Molotov, that could be a problem. So I have a decision to make. I can either run a headache rack to protect the rear window, or I can run a tonneau cover to protect the fuel cell and prevent anyone from climbing in the back here. Because I'll keep a nice wax on it, so all I have to do is hit the throttle and anybody climbing on top of my tonneau cover would get dumped off. So decisions to make there. A couple of upgrades I have to do. Holy crap, I can't believe this is still here. So I wasn't the best person in the world in my teenage years, and I would get really drunk and people would try to take my car keys, so I always kept a spare key under the hood, so I'd be like, yeah, fine, take them. Pop my hood and then just take off with my truck. A girl actually took the key out of here because she knew what I was about to do, and after we had made love, she took my car keys and I popped my hood to go leave, and she took this key too, so debating if I'm going to replace this or not, because I really don't need it anymore because I don't do that type of stuff. Anyways, upgrades I still have to do underneath the hood. I have to increase the size of the radiator, so if I'm idling, because right now this is fine as long as I'm cruising. If I'm stuck or I'm parked for a long period of time, the temp starts to climb. So I want to increase the size of the radiator, get some huge electric fans to really move some air through, so I can basically idle indefinitely until I run out of fuel, which just drinks fuel really fast, so it wouldn't be very long. But the point is to move a bunch more air and cool the engine down quicker so I have a longer idle time. I was also thinking about running like a cowl induction hood, because this hood is all broken. The hood was popped for so long because I had blown the last engine. When I put in the new engine and I pulled the hood down, the hood got a crease line across it and it's broke. And plus it doesn't line up quite right, so I think I'm going to put a cowl induction hood on here. A cowl, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. So that's got to be done yet. But other than that, I mean, when you're talking about start to end a project, this is only going to be like an $8,000 project, which won't be that bad, and I'll have a sweet-ass truck. So I'm pretty excited about it. I appreciate you guys checking in for the death truck project. As long as this video gets a whole bunch of support and people seem to really enjoy it, I'm going to cruise right along on this project. But it's probably going to flop because I have a gun channel. If it does flop, you know, I'll still cruise along and do some stuff here and there, but I won't be videoing much of it. This will just kind of get done on my own time, and I won't really show it in front of the camera. Now, like I said, if it does get a whole bunch of views, and this does seem to be a topic people are really interested in, yes, most definitely, we will video everything, and we'll go step by step on the upgrades I make, because this is specifically made for evacuating me and my family out of a riot zone should I happen to get caught in it, because you don't know. For all I know, tomorrow some person could die from racist food poisoning at Subway, and this town could be under siege by riots. You just don't know. The riots are moving everywhere. And it's weird because it used to be you only were at threat of a riot if you were in a high population area because there was enough stupid people to cause a riot. But it's just not that way anymore because the stupid people are coming to the areas and making the riots. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you'd like to help support the channel, I got my Patreon. I also have affiliate links in the description down below. I also have my merch shelf running where you can get some cool t-shirts. Don't forget to subscribe.